YouTube, how we doing? PPS here. YouTube play of the day. Coming at you guys today with some more NCAA basketball. I'm getting a little frustrated here. Obviously, our run, I think we've lost our last 3 or 4. 3 of those 4 have lost by 1 point. Ended up losing. Nichols with 78 points last night. And obviously that flips the whole season around, going from 4 straight to 3 in a row, right? So obviously got to pick it up. There's really no other way to say it. Obviously I feel bad more for you guys than I do for myself here, just because I don't think I've ever had like a losing run like this where I feel like I'm right on all these, right? I feel like I'm pretty good on these spots. Nichols ended up 78 points. Toledo scored 75 in the first half. Texas scored 80, right? Those are 3 of our last 4 bets on the show. And hopefully we'll be able to pick it up and bring it here. Obviously want to get a little bit more run going here going into March as we head forward. So I'm looking forward to today. Huge slate across the board. And yeah, let's get it started today as we move on to hopefully we get rid of these hooks, because they're just kind of getting annoying at this point. Just that's I think minus 3.6. You go from 3.6, you add those. That's a swing of almost 7 units there, putting us almost up 5. So let's get today. I'm going to be heading over to FanDuel for this one. FanDuel is still offering this line on DraftKings. It is a point higher. Let me pull it up for you guys. North Florida Stetson over 165.5 at minus 110. Pretty much for North Florida games, it's over or nothing. You can't bet the under on North Florida games unless the team can stop you from shooting threes, right? That's pretty much it, right? If you can stop the 3-point ball, you are going to beat North Florida. It is that simple, right? North Florida shoots the most threes in college basketball, and unfortunately for today, Stetson is horrendous at stopping the 3-point ball. First game this year was 100 to 101 in overtime. Even if you want to take that out, only 29 points were scored in that overtime, which obviously is a lot. But we're still getting to this number. Even in that game, though, the shots weren't like, it wasn't anything crazy in terms of percentages. It's just the pace is going to be extremely fast, right? North Florida shot 35% from deep. Stetson shot 34%. Free throws 73%, 76%. I think the offensive rebounds is obviously important. There was 33 total offensive rebounds in that game. I think that's obviously important to get those easy buckets. And just to see Stetson's ability to score in the paint, they had 50 paint points in that game. Stetson's not a good team. They're way down there, right? They're not a good team. Neither is North Florida, even though they do have some talent on this team. It's just they don't play any defense, right? They don't play any defense, and they're going to try and outscore you. They're a top 100 offensive rating on Ken Palm. They're 13th fastest in terms of pace. You go to Stetson, they are horrendous defensively, 357 out of 364 teams in terms of adjusted defense, and that's playing pretty bad teams. I really have – I don't know how North Florida doesn't score, especially, I mean, if they're not shooting the ball well, sure, but they're going to get a ton of open looks. We saw in that game, like I said, total, we saw, 33 offensive rebounds. And there really wasn't any issue getting to the foul line when needed, right? 51 total foul shots in that game. To put this in perspective, Stetson shot 82 attempts. 82 shot attempts, guys. That is ridiculous. That is crazy. But again, it's just North Florida. That's how they play. That's how they want to play. And they're going to try and outscore you. So it's at Stetson. Both teams are kind of struggling right now. But North Florida is a team that, if they have a team that plays against them that cannot stop the 3-point ball, it's going to be a long day for them, right? We saw them score 83 against Central Arkansas. That game went to 167. They're on the road again here. and this is just going to be a spot where you got to get this win, right? They're a game out behind Austin P. I'm not sure how this conference tournament works in terms of how many teams get in. I believe this is one that everybody does. But they have a tough matchup on the weekend versus Jacksonville, who's towards the top, Eastern Kentucky later on in the season, and then obviously Florida Gulf Coast, all three teams above them. All those three teams are fighting to get to the top spot. It's really bunched up towards the top. So this is a game I think both teams are got to get this win. So I think this is going to be a fun one to watch. If it's going to be just chucking threes, and I think this is going to be a fun game for some points. So 165.5 on FanDuel. Heading over to Toledo, they're in action today, so you know I'm gonna bet them, right? That it's that simple. We lost our last one with Toledo, right? Toledo ended up scoring, I think it was 75 on the dot. We get that as a win today, which I think is important because it ends right there or towards the 80s, right? It's right on that edge. It's either low 70s in that spot. And we see 74.5 minus 110 on DraftKings, minus 111 on FanDuel. Again, you want to look at some numbers here. Toledo, obviously coming off of a really bad loss, which is why I like taking this first half number. They lost to Eastern Michigan. They lost to Miami of Ohio. The Miami of Ohio loss isn't as bad, obviously. The Eastern Michigan one does not look good, especially when you're fighting to get to the top. And Akron is a really good team this year. So this is a must-win game. I think Toledo comes out fast. We see Ball State on the year. Not anything crazy, right? They're better than I expected them to be. Middle of the conference, I thought they'd be a little bit more towards the bottom here. But we look at Ball State for the season. They're really bad defensively, 324 in adjusted defense, 225 in tempo. But, I mean, Toledo will kind of provide that for you. Toledo is actually 338th in terms of adjusted defense. So both these defenses are not good. Going to the Toledo side, you get Toledo in a home spot. They're very, very good at home in terms of shooting threes. Ball State is, middle of the pack in terms of stopping threes. That's kind of the nothing crazy, right? They're giving up 35% on the road this season. Looking at first half numbers this year, Ball State is middle of the pack. They're scoring about 36 points per game. You go to Toledo, they're always towards the top. 61st this year, they're scoring 38 per game at home. Again, pace should be here pretty much in every Toledo game. I think the 3-point shooting for Ball State is going to be pretty important because Toledo is absolutely horrendous at stopping the 3-point ball. They're allowing 38% from three, which is 331st in the country. Not good. Ball State is allowing 37% from three on the road. So I always like taking Toledo first half just because we kind of see some of these games kind of slow down a little bit towards the end. I've gotten hooked on a lot of Toledo full games. But I also play a lot of Toledo first halves because, it's been 2-3 years. If you've been following me for a while, it's been 2 or 3 years we've been betting Toledo at will, and they've been very, very good under this coaching staff, and I think it's Kowalczyk here. So really like Toledo. I think they match up well. I think, like I said, offensive rebounds, 3-point shots, both teams struggle with those. So I think we should see some points. So sign me up for Toledo first half, over 74.5. North Florida, over 165.5 here. Heading into tonight with a good slate here. So hopefully we can cash these two. I'm tired of these hooks. I'm hoping we can just have some sweat-free winners and not be on the hook side of these again. So feeling good about today. Hopefully you guys are still with us, rolling with us. Should be back for another one of these tomorrow. I think NBA comes back Thursday, so we'll be back Friday for Pass the Props. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you over here on the channel, and see you guys tomorrow.